Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Laxalt on his Twitter profile has not conceded. So CNN has called it for Cortez Mastro. If you look, CNN, and he's still, it's interesting. It's interesting. They've called it for Cortez Mastro, 97% reported, and she's only up now. She overtook him. She's only up by 5,000 votes, and it's 3%. There's still 3% yet to be reported, but CNN has called it. NBC News, Cortez Mastro defeats Laxalt in Nevada. Okay. Handing Democrats control, but he hasn't conceded yet. Will he concede? Who knows? Probably. You might say, well, this is a terrible loss. It's not a terrible loss. The way I look at it is until the Republican Party realizes they will continually lose unless you back Donald Trump, completely the way Democrats back Fetterman, Biden, and a deceased person in Pennsylvania, because they elected a deceased person in Pennsylvania. Look it up. Unless you stop with, oh my God, he called DeSantis sanctimonious. Oh, he's saying things that aren't true. Routinely. The lies Biden has told are infinitely worse and far greater in number in terms of overt lies than Trump has told in 4 years. They obsessed over everything. When Trump said it was a fantastic economy in 2019 and we had record low in poverty. We had a record low in poverty in 2019. Trump said it was the best economy ever, and then they had a fact check. No, it wasn't the best economy ever. Trump lied. Oh my God, all the lies. They didn't obsess. They're not obsessing over Biden the way that Democrats stand by Fetterman, Biden, a deceased person, a house cat, a fern, whatever, an empty chair. They will stand by their candidate. Do you see any Democrats investigating Biden or Hunter? No. Do you see Republicans like Mitt Romney, Richard Burr, or all of the Paul Ryan investigating a Republican president who defeated Clinton? And then we're not going to get into the things we can't even talk about. But unless Republicans get behind Donald Trump and what Donald Trump, his platform or his viewpoint on politics, Republicans will continually lose these types of contests. Got the House, and Lombardo won by 20,000 votes. Joe Lombardo, the governor, won by 20,000 votes. Okay, little under 20,000. Republican, but Laxalt loses last second. If you look at his Twitter profile, he has not conceded. Now, he might concede, but he has phone numbers where he says call these Carson City, Churchill, Clark, Douglas, additional hotlines. Okay, but see, again, the thing is, hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. We have the House. You don't impeach Biden twice, you're probably not going to win the presidency back. I'm not voting Republican if it's not Trump. You have to understand something. Democrats will vote for never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. The only liberals who when liberals opposed Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld, they did so because it was a Republican sending Americans. If it was a Democrat, they wouldn't care. If Mashed Potato Brains Joe said we need to send Americans to Europe, to the country invaded under his watch, even with inflation and 8.5%, real wages are down 8.5% according to the Federal Reserve, Dallas Federal Reserve. Inflation is at 8 to 9%. They say 7.7% or whatever. Okay, it went down, they say. But inflation for rent, energy, they're going up. So you can look at the numbers, and Democrats love to twist and manipulate numbers. But the economy stinks. You have layoffs that are increasing in frequency. The overall economy is a terrible economy. We had a recession, and then the only reason the GDP was up in the third quarter is because of oil and arms exports. We have a terrible foreign policy, which is what I focus on, okay? But they don't care. And so you have these bizarre anomalies like a Republican governor, but suddenly last second, okay, Laxalt loses. And again, I'm abiding by YouTube policies. I read in the beginning of this that Cortez, Mastro, they're always going to call, see, media is not going to, media will be very quick to call it for a Democrat, and they will just take their sweet time for a wonderful, they'll take their sweet time with a Republican just for some reason. And if you don't address certain issues, which we don't have to address right now, we can't, if you don't address certain issues, you'll never win. And that's a decision that they never trump the good Republicans. You want to know why they love Romney, Democrats, or the Lincoln Project? Because Democrats will never lose. They would never lose to a person like that. Laxalt was good, by the way. He was good. He is good. Now, he hasn't, if you look at his Twitter profile, he hasn't conceded yet. And so that's what I'm just reporting, that maybe that's not even relevant now. So Democrats had the Senate, and what have they done with it? Nothing. They've had the Senate for the past couple of years. They've done nothing with it. They barely got any of their spending bills, which didn't help with inflation and didn't help with the economy. Okay, one out of 4 Americans, 25% of Americans are not celebrating Thanksgiving. Okay, 25% of Americans, let's see, you can look it up. 25% of Americans not celebrating, that's according to 1 out of 4 Americans plan to skip Thanksgiving. Yahoo. Okay? As inflation hits holidays, they still voted Democrat. They don't care. Do you understand? So, what Donald Trump was able to do was make it a populist party. The Republican Party of Mitt Romney, of Paul Ryan, of Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld, of the Lincoln Project, of Adam Kinzinger, will lose 100 out of 100 times. They lost in 2008 with McCain. They lost in 2012 with Romney and Paul Ryan. It was Trump who defeated Clinton. No other Republican could have defeated Clinton. Clinton would have steamrolled any other Republican candidate. And they say, well, Trump Republicans, the quality of the candidates, you didn't fund them, and they won their primaries. And you still didn't back them, and you didn't fund them. And Mitch McConnell was openly hostile to more populist Republicans. Then he said, well, they didn't win. Well, you were openly hostile to them. And you didn't back Blake Masters. Instead, you gave money to 2 Republicans, or 1 Republican in Alaska facing another Republican. I mean, it's like unbelievable. Then they say, well, Trump did this and Trump did that. Biden routinely shakes hands with ghosts. Fetterman had the worst debate performance of all time. And it's like, they don't care. You can put a fern or a house cat or like an empty chair. 1 out of 4 Americans won't be celebrating Thanksgiving. Democrats don't care. It's a religion to them. But then you have Republicans. Oh, Trump was mean. You have even the New York. I love the New York Post. You have even the New York Post saying, he should bow out of politics because apparently he tried to commandeer a limousine based on hearsay and gossip. You have Liz Cheney and Kinzinger with the committee. They didn't indict Trump on anything. It was a bad idea that day in January, but it wasn't. He didn't try to take over the government. But again, you have a divided, not just divided, it's not even like the political party that Republicans want to get back to, the moderates. And I saw this on the left. The difference is that the moderates on the left eat up and gobble up and control the socialists and the communists within the Democratic Party. The furthest left communist socialists will vote Democrat. That's not the case. Like, I won't vote. Not even if I see DeSantis is like a little bit too friendly with Mitt Romney or the never-ending counterinsurgency conflict Lincoln Project, I wouldn't vote for him. I want Trump because he was a great president. We had record low in poverty in 2019 before Democrats took over essentially took over the last year of his presidency, shut down their economies in blue states. Gleefully, I might add. Then inflation went up. Now we have 1 out of 4 Americans not celebrating Thanksgiving. And last second, these fantastic Democrats win while the Republican governors managed to get elected. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. He might very well concede, but he hasn't conceded yet. Again, you have the House of Representatives is the main thing. And people say, well, you said the Senate would go. Yeah, well, you know what? That was still a very logical, good, rational call on my part, and I'm on the part of a whole bunch of people. If you have 1 out of 4 Americans not celebrating Thanksgiving, you would think that Republicans wouldn't do themselves in, but it wasn't Trump, it was Mitch McConnell. Without Trump, you don't even get the House. You don't even get the House. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Impeachment is